equilibrium when it comes to what's going on today. Now, for example, in my country of Canada, our parliament is going to meet for the first time in 6 months. That's right. Now, we've kind of had the opposite situation to what has been going on in the United States, with Mr. Trump, of course, shooting off these executive orders almost daily and affecting everybody around the world. Whereas in my country, our illustrious Prime Minister, Justin Trudeau, he decided he was going to prorogue Parliament. And then, of course, we had a leadership race with the Liberal Party. And then after that happened, we had a general election where Mr. Prime Minister Mark Carney was elected to become our next Prime Minister. So here we are finally in the month of May having, of course, official business. Now, of course, this particular break is only going to be about 6 weeks. So we're not exactly sure what is going to happen in my country of Canada, but I'm grateful for at least some business getting done. Now, if you are out and about in our world today, you know that there is so many particular things going on. So you ask yourself this question: how can I make stability? Well, a lot of it has to do with your mindset. A lot of it has to do with your outlook. I know that there are people out there that are very pessimistic. Everything that can happen is going to happen. And we're all aware of a book called Murphy's Law. Murphy's Law says, well, whatever is going to happen, it's going to happen, and it's not going to be good. Well, I subscribe to the idea that actually something good is about to happen. I believe very strongly in positivity. Now, of course, that is rooted in my faith and the things that I have experienced over the years by serving the Lord. But I also know that mindset is absolutely important. Attitude. Years ago, on the back of a church, I actually saw this sign. It was put up there by a fella whose name was Lyle Carbett. Now, Lyle Carbett was a very positive individual, and he had out in the back of the church, attitude is everything. Now, for years, I had a board member in my church. His name was Tyson Spence. And Tyson would often say, this is one of his catchphrases, he would say, attitude is the only thing. Either way, your attitude actually marks who you are as a person and also reflects in how you treat others around you. If you understand the value of other people and you look at other people as valuable, and that's important because a lot of times we don't value other people. And the reason why we don't value other people is because we haven't learned to value ourselves. We haven't looked at ourselves as fearfully and wonderfully made. David said that in the Psalms. He says, listen, you are fearfully and wonderfully made. He understood the value of other human beings. He understood that we were made in the image of God. Now, back when I was about grade 10, my biology teacher, he was trying to shove down the theory of evolution on us. And he said, did you know that you're only worth about $9 in chemicals? And I sat there and thought about that for a minute. Okay, maybe in the value of chemicals, we may be only $9 or $10. Now, understand, that was the 1970s. But folks, we're not just a bunch of chemicals. We are more than that. Now, I know that there are many systems out there and many humanistic ideas that are trying to demean and trying to devalue who we are. But we are greater than any form of chemicals. We are more than any system. We are more than any particular, philosophy of life. And you got to look at yourself that way, because otherwise you're going to allow governments and educations and social reconstructionists and special interest groups and, other situations to come along and demean you. They want to devalue. They want to make you into their image, and you're not made in any of their images. You need to stand out. I love this one line from a movie called She's All That. And it simply says, the guy's talking to a young woman, and he says, "Why are you trying to fit in when you are called to stand out?" Did you ever think of yourself that way? Did you ever think of yourself as, special in the eyes of God and in the eyes of man? One of the things that Luke said about Jesus was he is growing in the favor of God and man. Now, I love that. I love to know that we are more than we currently are, and we can actually develop into something that we never thought we could ever be. One of my favorite inspirations among people who have disabilities, excuse me, is a guy named Nick Vujicic. Now, Nick Vujicic is an inspiration because he was born without arms and legs. He was able to learn how to surf. He was able to learn how to play a musical instrument, and he has become an inspiration. One thing that he never thought he would ever do, he never thought that he would marry. He never thought that he would have children. He has a wonderful wife, and he has children who are perfectly normal. And he says it's amazing to him, but he projects the fact that his disability is not defining him. And you know what? We don't have to be defined by other people's opinions. We can grow into something. There was a young man, of course, whose name was Morris. And we used to use him here on the station as one of the inspiration. This was a young man who had, excuse me, had lost his legs in a motorcycle accident. And what happened was this. He said for about a year, he was totally depressed. Then one day he looked at himself, said, "I don't want to live my life the rest of this way." So he went into therapy. He got some artificial legs. And you know what? He became a world champion in riding a bicycle. That's right. He says, when I got on the bicycle, he says, I feel a freedom that no one can take away from me. You see, Morris he was not defined by his disability. So you and I should not allow ourselves to be defined by other people. Let us come up with our own definition. Let us grow into what we can become, not what people put their labels on. And that happens all the time, especially for young people. They have their peer group, and they have teachers, and they have family who say, you're never going to amount to anything. If you believe that, you won't. But if you believe you're greater than that, guess what? You shall become more than you could possibly imagine. Remember, in every one of us, there is a potential that is being released. Part of it is believing that God made you greater than you are, and that He has a plan and purpose for your life. And secondly, developing a mindset of an overcomer. You'll never become an overcomer if you have nothing to overcome. You'll never become a conqueror if you have nothing to conquer. You will never be undefeated if you don't have something to defeat. And also remember, you are going to win when you don't give up. I love that one little Facebook post that I close with today. Rule number 1, don't give up. Rule number 2, remember rule number 1. Think about that today. Well, if you like what you've been hearing and seeing, I always encourage you to press the like button and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Also, as well, check out the different shorts that I put on every single day. That being, of course, the YouTube videos. Those are the ones that are, under 30 seconds that can encourage you with little sound bites. So either way, hit the like button and subscribe to my YouTube channel. My name is Robert Dean Steele. Thanks for spending time with me today.